Hello again, rivals. This is Xonia, and you are in the zone. Today, we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the Bangers clan. First, we're going to take a look at their theme, the breakdown through stars and rarities, the cost, the power clan comparisons, their bonus, the breakdown of their power and damage, their CR, Miss, Noel, RB, and LD cards, their ELO bands, a breakdown of their abilities, my favorite card, the best and worst, underestimated cards in the clan, a little extra info, and then some clan comparisons. This clan was actually the first that I got to 500 wins with. Bangers is made up of hip-hop, rap, and R&B musicians. If we look at the breakdown of their stars and rarities, Bangers contains 12 2-star cards, 23 stars, 12 4-stars, and 12 5-stars. It has 12 rare cards, 22 uncommon cards, and 18 common cards. Of its 56 total cards, about 45 still retain some usefulness in today's meta, meaning that about 11 of their cards are no longer useful. Of the three primary power manipulation clans of All-Stars, Bangers, and Uluwatu, it has the most 4-stars and 5-stars, and the fewest commons. Next, let's take a look at the cost. As you can see from this chart of the three power clans, Bangers currently has the cheapest set of commons, uncommons, and rare cards, but costs more than All-Stars if you factor in the New Blood cards. It boasts the most expensive CRs, making it the most expensive to collect all of the cards for of the three clans. So, with overall slightly better cards and a slightly higher price tag, Bangers is an excellent, accessible clan for beginners. Costing approximately 177,000 clints for all those classic cards. If you follow my video for the daily clints earning, which I'll be putting up later, you should be able to easily earn about 1,000 clints a day without too much effort. So that means it'll take you about 177 days, or just under 6 months, to collect everything in the clan with minimum efficient effort. If you're lucky with your daily commons, or if you put in a little extra effort on your DTs, then clearly you should be able to earn the entire clan a bit faster. Of course, this also assumes that you want every single card in the clan. Next, let's take a look at the cross-clan comparisons between the power clans. Since I think it's useful to compare clans which are similar, let's take a look at the Bangers clan as compared to All-Stars and Uluwatu. First, when I look at this chart, it's pretty clear that Bangers rule the roost when it comes to damage. In every single star count, Bangers comes up as the clear winner, being over half a point higher than all the other power clans. Additionally, Bangers lock in the top spot for best overall 2-star base stats. This makes sense to me. When I look for a clan with solid 2-star cards, I always find myself eyeing the Bangers clan. This also means that Bangers should do well in T1 and ELO. You need solid 2-star cards for those low-star draws, and Bangers is going to offer the most solid ones out of the three main power manipulation clans. However, with a lack of great 3-stars and only a few decent 4-star cards, Bangers has not seen a lot of high-level ELO play. Second, notice that Bangers has the lowest overall base power. This makes sense, seeing as they are far more dominant in the damage department. So the basic trade-off is this. Uluwatu is +1 power and -1 damage, Bangers is -1 power and +1 damage, and All-Stars is just even with +0 power and damage. So you're always going to be a little more powerful in Uluwatu, a little more damage in Bangers, and right in the middle with All-Stars. Finally, the most important thing I notice is that the Bangers have the highest overall average base totals. Thus, Bangers cards are just generally better when it comes to base stats. As a result, they'll probably get slightly less round-breaking abilities, but always feel a bit stronger. This can mean trouble though when facing ability-heavy decks, and answers why they may have so many SOA cards. But it also makes a card in Bangers with a great ability pure gold. As we look at the bonus of the Bangers, it's a straight-up +2 power. Bangers decks rely a lot on their brute strength, and when one gets an ability that adds to that, it leads to extremely powerful cards. This makes Bangers the easiest clan to 2-hit KO with, of the power clans, making them dangerous because they usually have a power advantage, and overpilling can mean an instant KO against the Bangers. This was the main reason that I got them to 500 so fast. It's just easy to do. When you add in the cards with fantastic abilities, Bangers is hard to argue with. The Bangers are not a flashy clan though. Since their best cards rely on having the cards with the best abilities, which often means the strongest stats, you may find yourself feeling a little bit limited in your 2-star, 3-star, and 4-star choices. There's some variety, but it's all about the stats, and not usually about who has the coolest ability. Those slots pretty much already have their staples for now. However, in your 5-star slot, that one will offer you a lot more fun to play with. Almost every 5-star card in Bangers is a beast, making Bangers a lot of fun to play in high star counts, like T2 battles. Now, as before, since many cards in UR are only 7 to 8 power, and since Bangers focuses on damage over power, Bangers cards will almost always have the lowest base powers in the game. This has often led to the Bangers' abilities to be wasted, trying to raise their power even more. Well, it's not really a waste, it's just how things are in the Bangers clan. Additionally, Bangers lacks good attack manipulation, meaning that in most fights, everything is going to come down to your stats and how many pills you have left. So next, let's take a look at the breakdown of the power and the damage. Bangers players rarely complain about a 6-power card release. We know that that's par for the course, and allows us a shot at getting a decent ability, though generally, it'll just be more power manipulation. If the power is higher, well, then we know that we'll be seeing an ability that augments damage. That's just how it goes. After all, did you notice that no Bangers cards have a base power of 8? The 4-star cards in Bangers are the worst. They're just so mediocre. None of them are bad, so we can't complain, but none are really amazing either. The one 4-star that really shined went CR, and the rest are all fairly decent 4-star cards, but they all have a relatively large downside to them. In principle, the data suggests that UR will probably give Bangers cards either 6 power and a decent ability, or cards with 7 power and a slightly less powerful ability. Thus, the better cards will likely be either 5 to 6 power with a very strong ability, for example, cards like Tasty Taste or Zoe. Or cards with 7 power and a powerful, stable ability and decent damage, cards like Fix It, Crink LD, or Pearl. One other factor between good, better, and best cards will most likely lie in whether or not they have a good ability and good damage. Pill advantage is generally not necessary with this clan. If you get perfectly pilled, you're generally done for with Bangers. Therefore, proper pilling is essential for a good Bangers deck. Thinking that you have more muscle, or power, than you actually do is often the undoing of a perfectly good Bangers deck. If you overpill, it can be hard to come back because you're generally not going to have any attack manipulation to force pills from your opponent. So, let's take a look at the damage next. As we look at the damage breakdown, this helps show why a card like B-Boy really stands out in All-Stars. At 7/7, he's 1 power above normal for a 5-star, and just above average for damage. A truly devastating 5-star card, B-Boy beats the average on base power and damage, and he has the ability that is almost always perfectly suited for any situation that he comes up against. A combination of good damage and good power make him stand out, and a real star in the clan. So, after looking at the average base power of 6 and damage of 5, we end up with an average card that isn't too bad. Its power will be decent enough after bonus, and it should be able to 2-hit KO with Fury with most cards in the clan. You can make it work, but again, you're gonna run into trouble if you go too far with your pills, and you're gonna lose. This, I think, is one reason developers have opted to give this clan a little more pill manipulation in recent years. This can make them almost overpowered, but only if they can land a win with their ability. The key is that you'll need to scare your opponent into playing more pills than they actually do need to, or you'll need to manage your pills well with this clan. Against SOB, you'll find yourself lacking in power, making that 2-hit KO all the harder. And against SOA, you'll just need to try and outmuscle them, which can be easier in T1 than in T2. Among the 3 power clans, I would say Bangers is probably the most brute force. Combination of SOA, SOB, power manipulation, DR, and attack manipulation can really send Bangers down the hole. Their only counter to high ability cards is their own SOA, or just plain winning the round, which can lead to massive overpilling at times. If you choose to play a deck with the higher damage cards, you'll end up losing a bit in the power department, meaning that you'll need to make sure you win 2 rounds, going all in on both, most likely, and make sure that you don't hit too much DR when you win, in order to win your match. Regardless, Bangers is still an excellent clan that can help you learn the basics of how important power and damage are in playing in UR. Personally, I highly recommend Bangers for beginners. Again, it's not flashy, but once you really understand power and damage, you can better gauge the abilities on other clans and which trade-offs are worth having on a card for your own personal playstyle. So let's take a look at the CRs. Bangers currently has 3 CR cards. Blaster CR, Chico CR, and Some Sam CR. Some Sam CR was one of the first two CRs back in March 2006. Chico CR followed in November 2008, and Blaster CR was the most recent in December 2011. Blaster CR is the clan's most dominant 4-star card. He is an absolute beast, in part because of his super low minimum of 3 on his power manipulation ability. He seems so unassuming at a base of 6/6, but is really a virtual 10/6 monster. His ability to counter almost all power reduction cards, both high, low, and medium, due to his ridiculously low min, was probably the last nail in the coffin for this great card before going CR. Anyone who can simultaneously hold his own against opposite spectrum power manipulation reducers like Ong and Kayla CR, as well as the entire All-Stars clan at only 4 stars, is definitely worthy of respect. Chico CR is from the Bronze Age of UR. His CR status was most likely to remove an unusable card from the packs. Aside from previously being one of the cheapest CRs available on the market, there's little to say about this hormone chicken-eating bangers card. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just read his bio. Finally, Some Sam CR is like one of the godfathers of UR. With relatively decent stats, this card went CR years before I even knew this game existed. Commanding an incredible price tag on the market because, simply put, so few were ever made and put into existence, this is one of those cards that you'll only own for probably one of 3 reasons. 1, you won him as a prize. 2, you love bangers and really wanted the full set of them. Or 3, you have more Clints than you know what to do with and bought him after getting all the other playable CRs. Regardless, Some Sam CR is to be respected, even if you may never see him played outside of Kate in duel mode. Next, let's take a look at the Miss, Noel, RB, and LDs. As for Miss cards, Bangers currently has no Miss cards, as well as no Noel cards. However, Bangers currently has 2 RBs, Sid Knows RB and Vermin N RB. Sid Knows RB was the first Bangers RB card, released on February 11th, 2015, as the second overall RB card, tied with Baby Q RB. Vermin N RB was released on May 18th, making him the 7th RB that was released. He was the first RB released after RBs were changed from very limited prizes to being included in packs, which is why he's listed here as an uncommon instead of with the blue bar like Sid Knows RB on Curlad. As for LDs, the Bangers LD card is Crink LD. This card is one of the better LDs, being extremely usable and often quite scary when subbed into a T2 deck. He's not solid, but especially in mirror battles, he can really pack a punch. Overall, good cards in the clan that are a little more solid, but Crink LD is a great balance of risk and reward, making him an excellent LD that you should definitely try to get a hold of. Next, as for ELO bans, Bangers has 2 permanently banned ELO cards, B-Boy and Shan, both of which are for fairly obvious reasons. Blaster CR has popped on and off the player bans for quite a while now, too. As for the abilities, let's take a look at a breakdown of the abilities in the Bangers clan. As we can see, Bangers has 26 cards with an ability related to power or damage. Outside of that, we mostly see Bangers filled with pills manipulation and a few attack manipulation cards. As for SOA, Bangers has 50, Graf, and Randall backing them up. For pills manipulation, we have 6 cards: Blidgy, Bubbles, Doug Snop, Dudsy, MC Leroy, Raquel, and Shan. Several of these cards may immediately jump out to you as being some of the best in the clan. Why? In a clan that lives and dies by the pill, cards with high power and pill manipulation allow a larger fudge factor in your gameplay, which is exactly what Bangers needs, and everyone else should fear when they see these cards appear in their opponent's hand. Finally, Bangers has 5 attack manipulation cards: BB Cool G, Bowden Power, Clifford, Duke, and Nakey. In all honesty, these are all decent attempts into the foray of attack manipulation for Bangers, but they're still quite lacking. There are plenty of other better 5 stars, BB is unusable in the current meta, and Nakey is conditional and low on damage. People are split on Duke, but generally negative because he's conditional. And I'm not quite so harsh on Duke, but only because of all the other 4-star Bangers cards leaving me feeling meh at the end of the day. Oh, And I guess they have Kevin for poison too. Emphasis on, I guess. It's better if we all just pretend that he doesn't exist. Notice that the abilities for plus pills, copy op bonus, plus power and damage, plus power and plus damage are all filled with excellent cards already. Look for cards with great abilities centered around pills or around non-conditional attack manipulation in future releases. Also, a better low-star DR might also become an instant staple. As for conditionals, Bangers has very few, and most are the best kind of conditional. The one place in conditionals that Bangers are sorely lacking is in Courage. Otherwise, Bangers remains an excellent clan with very few conditionals, making them ideal for beginners as well. It's much easier to play when you're not worried about whether or not a card has Confidence, Reprisal, or Courage on it. Next, let's take a look at my favorite card. If you ask me to choose my favorite card, I'd have to say, hands down, it's Shan. She is the kind of card that you buy the clan to play. You can basically turn off your brain when you draw Shan. Seriously, look at your opponent's cards, and then just pill a lot. If people tend to throw less, stick to 7 pills. If people tend to be playing more pills against you, feel free to go to 9, or even 10. Getting 4 pills back is ridiculous. With Shan, all you need to do is win round 1 and hope that you didn't ridiculously overpill too much, which rarely happens when you get 4 back. For some reason, people see Shan and do just one of 2 things. Bluff, praying you didn't only play a few pills, or think, I have to pill 7 to 8 to try and stop her! She is just such fun to play, worth every clints that you will ever spend on her. Next, let's take a look at the best and worst cards in the clan, according to the star count and then rarity. Again, these choices are subjective. If you disagree, feel free to leave a comment below telling me where you think I messed up. I'll stay quiet and just let you see which ones I thought were the best and worst at each star count and at each rarity. Again, these are just my own subjective choices. If I had to reveal my personal diamonds in the rough for Bangers, I'd have to say Lil J and Raquel. These 2 2-star cards are really nice. Also, perhaps I'll surprise you with that third choice, Layla. First, Lil J is a virtual 9 power common with 3 damage. Are you kidding me? He's very comparable to Agostino. No DR, but a lower min and 1 extra damage. Wait, is there really a difference between min 1 and 2 for power? Anyway, still, Lil J is a beast in your 2-star slot. Raquel is even more of a beast. Aside from being one of the only backlash minus pills cards, important for the mission, in all of UR, she's 8 power and 4 damage. Play her late game and there's no downside to her at all. She's particularly devastating because she can Fury KO with nearly every 4-star and 5-star card in the Bangers clan. 2-star cards that can do that are few and far between, believe you me. Well, 2-stars that can do that and actually have decent power. Seeing as you need those kind of bluffs in your deck to force pill play with Bangers, this makes her an ideal card. So don't be put off by her ability. Just don't play her in round 1 or round 2. Finally, Layla. People look at Layla and say, her power is horrible, no way! But I cannot express how many games I have won because people simply didn't expect a surprise Fury Layla KO. People always think she's only being played as a bluff because she lulls tons of opponents into a false sense of security. Contrary to popular belief, I think it's a great idea to make your opponent feel like they're in the lead. With my style of playing, I love it when I'm in a situation where the opponent thinks they've got just a slight advantage over me. they start to get a little cocky and they drop their guard. Layla is perfect for this, because everyone thinks, I can beat her, she's no threat. And if you do it right, they'll look at your cards and say, if I pill to cover her, I'll be vulnerable to the other big cards in his hand. I'll just throw a few in order to cover a medium pill play. But they rarely cover the surprise Fury KO. Leverage your weaknesses and they can become strengths. Besides, 7 base damage on a 3-star? That's crazy! Mind you, keep this in T1. In T2, you'll just get destroyed. Next is extra info, and Bangers is probably the best power clan to partner with the leader Amber. Due to the fact that none of them have a base 8 power, every single Bangers card will always obtain the maximum benefit of 3 power from Amber. So coupling Amber with the cards that are heavier on damage makes this clan a real headache for opponents. Additionally, I'd be remiss if I forgot to say that obviously attack manipulation clans can make things harder for Bangers. The higher the attack manipulation, the more difficult it will be. Bangers need those pills, and the more you have to expend to get over the wall, the worse off it'll be for you, since the opponent will always have a few decent 7 to 8 power cards in their hand. Now, getting over a wall to stop a bluff is much easier though. It's not hard to see a power dynamic of 8 to 6 or 9 to 7 makes getting over walls easier, but chew up too many pills or get perfectly pilled on round 1 or round 2, and you could find yourself in some real trouble. Bangers is also a very popular T2 choice. With amazing power and abilities on a lot of their 5-star cards, Bangers really thrives at getting those 2-hit KOs in T2, and basically just trampling all over your opponent. Their motto would be something like, "That's a cute ability you have there. It's too bad you'll never win and get to use it." So, finally, which clans will Bangers have the easiest time dispatching? Well, honestly for this clan it depends on a lot of the draws and formats that you're in. So to boil it down simply, I would say Berserk, Fangpai Clang, Freaks, Jungo, La Junta, Raptors, and Vortex. These clans will be particularly helpless against Bangers, since they generally rely on their average base power to get off their high damage and great abilities. Bangers can shut these clans down by simply winning the round and eliminating the threat entirely. However, be careful around Geist, Junks, Montana, Nightmare, Piranhas, Pussycats, and Uppers. These clans will require you to use pills in order to get over their attack manipulation, block your 2-hit KO, or attempt to out-pill manip you, or strip you of your ability or bonus and then counter with their own power manipulation. The key to success, as always, will be to make sure that you commit to and win the correct rounds. Well, this concludes the Bangers Clan review. I hope you feel like you learned something about the Bangers Clan and feel prepared to both play with and against the Bangers Clan. If you like this video, then please feel free to like it, favorite it, and share it. I make these videos so others, including you, can learn and enjoy Urban Rivals. Nothing makes me happier than when you guys enjoy these videos. So don't forget to leave a comment below if there's anything you think I forgot to mention. Oh, and while you're there, let me know which Bangers card is your personal favorite. And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more of my Urban Rivals videos. This is Xonia, and you've been in the zone.